It's summer and we're trying to beat the heat. We are trying to make memories with our families, have a lot of fun, but maybe you are looking for something free to do. If it's not free, definitely inexpensive, come along with me to see what I am up to. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Ina Cecilia with The Little Way. I offer encouragement for women, especially Catholic wives and mothers. If you are interested in that kind of content, you will definitely want to hit that subscribe button and like this video if you just enjoy coming along with me, feeling like you're hanging out with a friend. Okay, so just a few updates. If you've been following along, you are familiar with the fact that I am expecting our 5th baby. We're super excited. I am really busy at work right now, so I am not able to do the kind of nesting that I want to do. When I'm home, I do get to participate in these little slow, simple things that are making me feel like I'm getting ready. And it's interesting because I'll go into it in another video, but how I'm preparing for baby number 5 is totally different than baby number 1 and even baby number 2. You know, we're not acquiring as many things. There are things that we've gotten rid of, but I have found that there are simple things like I want to prepare freezer meals, not even for when I have the baby, but for that 3rd trimester where I'm really tired and I don't want to do anything. Or we're decluttering a bunch of things. You've seen in my last video that I'm doing hand quilting, which I've never done before, and I'm obsessed with it. And yeah, there are little ways that I'm getting organized, especially since it's warm out. I don't want to be outside during those peak heat times, so I'm spending a lot of time indoors, organizing and trying to get my house in order, figuring out what I can do inside to make my life easier, to make our home better. And I want to share some of those things with you. So one of the things that I'm working on right now is, I remember getting one of these from my aunt when I was 13, 14. And I know it's an odd gift, but it was actually from my mom, but I will never forget it. And it was one of those things you put in your kitchen to corral all of your plastic bags, especially in the age of reusing plastic bags. I have plenty of cloth bags that I use, but sometimes they're in the wash or they're really gross, so I end up needing a bag when I go to the store. Well, I end up with all these plastic bags and I want to still reuse them, but there's no sensible place to keep them neatly, tidy in my kitchen. I've tried a few different methods, but I'm gonna try something new again. Well, anyway, back to this thing that I had years and years ago. It is shaped sort of like a wine bottle, if you will, or like a big sausage. You'll see what I mean when I make it. And I am just gonna hand sew this because I think it'll be another good sit down, quiet project instead of plugging in my machine, threading my bobbin, all of that. So you just take a piece of fabric, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this one, which I think goes with a lot of things. And I'm going to cut the top, and I'm going to make, probably going to sew like right here on the top, and same thing on the bottom. It's not going to be this long, but maybe it will. And sew the seams on the side. And I'm going to scrunch up, so I'm going to weave through a string or a piece of fabric so that I can tie it, and it'll be cinched at the top and cinched at the bottom. And the idea is there will be a hole at the top and a hole at the bottom, and when you come home from your grocery trips, you shove your plastic bags through the top, and when you leave for the day to go to the grocery store, you pull the bags from the bottom, so it keeps it organized. I don't have to worry. I'm kind of OCD with these kinds of things. I'll fold my bags so that they stay neat, and I'm not just bringing a huge pile of wrinkled plastic bags into the store. Let me know if you identify with that. So yeah, all you can do is just shove them in there and then pull them out when you're done. And then if you really do feel like folding them in the car before you go in the store, then you can do that. But I'm gonna hang it up somewhere in my kitchen so that it's not taking up space that a basket would, or I'm not having to shove these in all the corners just so that they're not on the floor, they're out of the way. I think it'll be a good, easy, simple project. Even if you don't know how to sew, I think that you will enjoy it. So follow along with me as I make that today. And I don't know what else we're gonna do. I don't know what else I have in store. I am still working on that quilt. We have some homeschooling to do. I have some baking. I have some crackers that are going in the oven. I think the biggest piece of advice I have this summer is think about what you can do that is simple at your house. And I know that is something that I talk about all the time, but instead of going out to get new things or figuring out what you can do outside of your home, even just pulling weeds or picking up trash or washing your pillows, those things will take up so much of your day that it'll be done before you know it. And you will realize that most of the time you probably come up with things to do, like errands, because you're bored. And so I have a lot of work to do in my home. There's a lot of things that are neglected, but I think this will be something that feels creative that I can work on, but still solves a problem. And I won't be going out spending a bunch of money. I already had fabric, I had a needle, I had thread in my house. Leave me a comment, let me know what slow, simple thing you're working on this summer, and let's get into our project. So I'm starting off with this fabric and folding and pinning where I would like to weave through my piece of string or yarn or whatever it is that you have. I want to mention, if I haven't mentioned it already, that I am not an expert sewer or seamstress by any means. My mom taught me to hand sew when I was a little girl, but that was about it. And if you go back and watch my video of talking about things that I learned from grandma or grandma's frugal living tips, I talk a little bit about my grandmother and her experience with sewing and my interest in it, but I did not start doing it until a year or two ago, and I am now obsessed with just finding all sorts of projects. I realize that there is so much fabric, so many things at home that we have that we could repurpose, and it really doesn't take as much time as we think it's going to take. We have old t-shirts we can turn into family cloth or rags or what have you, and even just sewing the edges will make all the difference with how long that lasts and how professional it feels, instead of all these frayed edges that we have where everything just looks like trash all over our house. It's really relaxing, especially if you put on a YouTube video or if you just listen to music on a Sunday afternoon. And so I highly recommend giving it a try. You can go to the dollar store, get some basic needle and thread, and it's not the best quality, but it's a start, and you will feel really good about yourself when you realize that you can make simple little things with such inexpensive materials, just like our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers did. Now, I've made dresses like this, I've made curtains, I've made lots of different things with this basic trick, which is you just sew this one seam and you can weave something through it and cinch it, and you can even use elastic if you want, or just tie a little bow, which you'll see at the end. And I am not doing anything particularly fancy. There's so many different ways you could sew where you could do an invisible seam, but this is just for home use. It's just to get the job done. And I think that's something that we need to remember is there are so many things that I think we take too seriously. We don't even want to try because we are so worried that it's not going to be perfect. And I think having a simple, frugal summer with that mindset of this is the time, if any, where I can just be lighthearted and I don't have to make things perfect. No one is expecting that of me. It's not like I am trying to sell these things at some Christmas bazaar, getting ready for the holidays. We should take these moments to accept our imperfection. I want to share a little story. I am a terrible crocheter. I love the act of crocheting. I think it is very calming, but I am not good at it. I always seem to do it too tight or I miscount. And I have accepted that I am a bad crocheter. And I sort of laugh about it and it just makes me feel better, but I don't need to make it perfect. And I think it's okay that that is someone else's skill and someone else's talent. And I think we need more of those things in our life because it reminds us too of God's grace, that God doesn't expect us to have every talent. He just wants us to recognize the talents that we do have and do something about it. Something else on the side, I know some people may make a comment because they'll notice that I have this burn on my hand and it's not very becoming. I did burn myself for a millisecond. My hand touched the rack of my oven and that's what happened. I must be very sensitive, especially being pregnant. So I'm fine. I just wanted to share that with everyone. It's just part of motherhood. You know, sometimes you have an oven mitt, sometimes you have a towel, whatever, and you just get through your day with all the baking and cooking that I have to do. So anyway, I promised that while I made this video, I would talk a little bit more about other simple ways that we're trying to save money over the summer. And so, like I mentioned, this is one way where you just think about things around your house that need attention that you've been putting off and what materials you already have. I'm not saying go to Hobby Lobby or go to a craft store and just buy all new materials and start a new project doing something you don't even need. There are things that you could fix that don't require you to go anywhere. You can take vinegar and some orange peels, create a nice little cleaning detergent or cleaning agent, and clean things around your house that are not attended to and make it fun. You can go for walks outside, and you'll see that a lot of my time that I spend in the summer saving money have to do with my family, with my children. So we will go play in the creek. We will go outside and play together. We will go for walks around our neighborhood. We'll try new recipes with ingredients we have. That's the perfect time to teach your children how to cook something. Be old school. You can play house with your daughters and give them a little broom and pretend that you're Ma Ingalls or that you are Anne of Avonlea. And just take a moment. It will really bring them joy to see you playing in that way. What are some other things I do? I journal. I read my Bible. I am, spending quality time with my husband, just talking about our goals and our dreams, and we are mapping those out. We are going on the internet and looking up new travels that we want to do. And that takes up a lot more time than you think, to just sit and go down the rabbit hole and think about where do I want to go next? Or what is the next thing we want to learn to do as a family? Make mud pies with your family. It's really therapeutic. I know some people are just not really into, getting down and dirty like that, but I am. Pray the rosary with your family. You'll hear me say that over and over and over again. Is there a painting project that you have neglected? Can your storage use some decluttering? There's lots of little things, and I know it all sounds like tedious housework, but at the end of the day, it is something that when you think about how you didn't have to even leave your house and you got things done and you used your time wisely instead of just feeling like you had to fill up your day with doing interesting things, then you will feel the better for it. You'll feel like a better steward of the time God has given you. Leave me a comment how you're spending your summer. I can't wait to hear from you, and I hope you learned something from my tutorial. Thank you, and God bless.